Never fear. The weightlifting scoop is here.
And then Tom says,
Queer.
What?
No, what am I supposed to say?
Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Well, if you weren't on your phone, you would have known that, Tom.
No,
You
I
start
wouldn't have
paying
known that.
attention.
I'm sorry, I'm not a psychic.
Well, that's like the only thing you've been saying for like 3 weeks. You know, you either do that little face thing that you can't see me, or you say, yeah, baby.
Steve wanted your number, so I was giving it to him.
Oh, man.
So you really were on your phone, man.
Yeah, I was.
Slacker.
Yep.
So, we have Glenn Pendlay here.
We do.
So, I've been waking up really light.
Have you been going to bed light?
Well, yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
I don't weigh myself at night, but I assume I go to bed light. So I weigh myself every morning, and I've got this little app on my phone where I just track my weight. And I was pretty heavy right before Pan Am's, and I went down there and just sweat a lot and made it pretty easy to make weight when I got there. But ever since I've been back, I've been weighing almost 80 or below, which is fairly light for me.
It has been kind of hot here, a little humid.
Yeah.
It hasn't been super hot. It hasn't been like 2 summers ago when it was, 103 in August. But it has been hot, I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're getting towards the summer, so it's going to be hot, and that is awesome because
I think
you
we're
can.
pretty much in summer, not just towards the summer.
Is it officially summer?
No.
I think. Well, it should be. If it's not, it should be.
No, there's a date that says when summer starts.
It is still officially spring.
It's
Oh
still
man, we have
springtime.
our new 75-kilo lifter, Taylor Harris, that you guys met last.
She's got a
Show.
new singlet on.
Those look good.
She is, she's showing us our new singlets, which are that we're gonna unveil at Nationals in 5 weeks. They're not that exciting.
Oh,
But,
boy. Nationals in 5 weeks.
Yep.
That's exciting.
It's like 4.5, 33 days.
Wow. Somebody's counting down.
No, the girls told me about it this afternoon.
Well, it's exactly 5 because it starts on a Friday. So.
That's your opinion.
That sounds like fact to me.
Oh, that's what you get, Tom. Listening to women.
Well, so is there? They do a lot of these studies, this and that. Oh, when it gets hot out, your HGH levels rise. Is there any truth to that, or is it just all BS?
I think there's probably some truth, but the thing you have to ask yourself is it enough to matter? Like, do they rise enough and for long enough to really make a difference in performance? And, I don't think so. I really don't. I have no doubt that there's some transient increase.
But would that make you stay leaner over the summer?
Oh, I don't think it's enough to matter, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if that was the case, everybody in Florida and Texas would be really lean.
And obviously, that's not the case. Everybody in
Yeah.
Texas is not really lean.
My dad lives in Texas, and he said, and he moved from Florida, and he was like, people are just so unhealthy in Texas because they eat tacos all the time and like burritos.
That's what it is.
He just said everywhere serves tacos, and it's really hard to lose weight because everybody makes a damn good taco. So.
Well, I can see that.
Well, Glenn,
It's probably not salsarita tacos, but I'm sure they're good.
Well, Glenn actually got some brisket tacos from Salsaritas and tweeted about it, of all things.
I did.
And,
today.
Not
today.
No, not today. This was like over a year ago, I think. And then he had a back and forth with Salsaritas.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did. And they've stopped making those brisket tacos.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they didn't go over. Now I'm back to pork.
Well, you need to
and
tweet
the
him again.
The pork are very good, so I'm happy with the pork. But it was nice to have brisket tacos for the short time that they were available.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I mean, those were some epic tacos today that I watched Glenn eat. They were huge.
They were. I think I talked about this a little bit last podcast, but I found the secret to getting tacos at Salsaritas. I found the secret.
Yep, so we'll leave it at that, because
you don't want to tell the
if you
secret.
want to know all the secrets, listen to the last podcast, because he told it all. He revealed it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it.
So, I had a pretty good meal last night. So, Travis just moved out of my house. And he left some stuff. He left this Frank's Red Hot Wing Sauce.
That stuff's good.
Yeah, so, well, I stole it. So I cooked some chicken.
Well, if he left it, did you really steal it?
Yeah.
Or did you just commandeer it?
It's a pretty good one.
I like that.
It was my ship, though, so.
But the sauce was not yours.
Yeah, I just kept kept everything.
There you go.
Yep. So either way, I made this, and I mixed it in with rice. And there was a lot of butter in the rice, of course. So it's the chicken, the hot sauce, rice, butter, ranch, and salt and pepper.
Or you just
all
ruined
mixed
it
together
there with the ranch.
No.
I hate ranch.
Just a little bit of ranch, and it was amazing.
Did that settle in with the sensitive stomach of the pregnant lady?
Yeah, I mean, she's been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
She has no problems. She wanted it. We had it 2 nights in a row because she liked it so much.
Ah, good.
Yeah, and then I made hamburgers, and she didn't like them at all, so.
Well, there you go.
I thought they were great, but speaking of that, I should have had those hamburgers for lunch. They're sitting in my refrigerator. Oh, yeah.
So
good
what's
hamburgers.
different with your beer today, James? You've been trying something new.
Yeah, so I've been watching some YouTube videos, getting some tips about how to shape my beard, trim it up, and all that. Because I went to a barber once to get my beard worked on, and they totally messed everything up, and it was ridiculous.
Those sons of bitches.
Yeah.
And
so,
you paid them. You
Yeah.
had to pay them after messing up
I
that
know.
shit.
I know. I even tipped them. I felt bad because they were so bad, but so I don't go to a barber anymore. So I've been trying to do this myself, and so I learned a few valuable lessons when using trimmers in your beard. You never go up into your beard. You always take the trimmers and you go down and away from the beard, so as not to cut too much off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I never had done that before. I always kind of went up against the grain and just cut it all off and made it the same shape. But this way actually works real well, because then you kind of go with the natural way of your beard, and then it kind of shapes a little better.
James, there is no natural way of your beard at all. That thing is quite, well, you actually, it does look good now. Now that I take a look at it. But
yeah.
earlier in the week, though, I was getting a little worried about you.
I ate salad with ranch on it, and I did not get any of my beard today.
There you
And
go.
it's not any shorter. It's just a little trimmed up on certain spots.
I think Glenn said he sees a couple spots.
I see a couple spots of ranch.
A ranch in his beard.
His beard.
Well, no, that's gray hair in Glenn's beard.
Oh.
Geez, thanks.
No, that's a very that's a compliment.
It's a
To have gray in your beard,
sophisticated
it's like,
look.
Yeah, it's you know that I don't know if you ever saw that commercial for the hair dye for men. So they got an old dude going in there to get an interview, and then all the people are like, "Oh, I don't want to have this old dude working for us. He's got gray hair." And then they have a young dude. It's the same guy, but with just dyed brown hair. He's like, "Oh, this guy's too young. We don't want him." But then he's got that mixture, so he buys that half brown, half gray,
Salt and pepper
Yep.
coloring.
And they're like, "Man, this guy's legit." It was that type of compliment.
You know that?
No, it
I
wasn't.
don't even know what to say about that.
Well, you're smiling, so
you go into the same interview 3 different times with 3 different shades of hair, and you get the job one time based on the fact that you have salt and pepper in your hair instead of being brown or gray.
I think he had a time machine.
Yeah, this seems weird. Something's wrong with this picture, I think. You know, yeah, something's just wrong with that. For guys, you shouldn't be worrying about your hair color, your beard color for that matter, or anything.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
No, you know when James said, "I had a pretty good meal last night," I thought he was going to leave it at that, like the other day, where he's like, it's like, there's a lot to be said about that, and then just stopped. And we're like, well, you didn't say
Go
much.
ahead and say it.
Well, training's
Yep.
been going pretty good. Now, me and James were going to talk a little bit about, like, when you travel to meets, some things that you got to prepare for and how it's different when you travel to meets, because and in preparation for nationals, we have a lot of people out there that are training for nationals, and obviously it's not as harsh of conditions going to Salt Lake City. I would say that's a very nice city, so there's not too much to avoid in terms of water, but you still got to be prepared.
Nobody ever says don't drink the water in Salt Lake. I think it's pretty safe.
I thought you were about to make a pun, but
No, I wasn't doing anything clever. I just,
don't drink the water in Salt Lake. You're not supposed to drink salt water. I don't know. I don't know where you're going with that, but
now going to Salt Lake City or any other place or any national, international meet, one thing that is definitely going to be different, and this might affect Tom a lot, being a super, is you're going to have to walk a lot more. Do you notice that at meets, Tom, that when you get to the meet, you're walking from the hotel to the convention center? Do you feel like you're on your feet more often, or do you think you personally on a regular basis are on your feet anyways?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do. I coach at quite a few CrossFits, and now that I have a house or whatever, I do stuff around there. So I'm on my feet quite a bit. So the walking doesn't bother me too much. The only place I ever notice that it bugs me is the Arnold. Because
that's a
that place
huge
is
meet.
crazy.
But you know what I'm saying, like walking around. But like if you go to, especially if you go to like the exhibit hall before you compete, or if you ride with Glenn and he parks 3 miles away from the venue, or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like the first year we went with Team MDUSA, I noticed like especially the first couple of days, like my shins were actually sore from all the walking, on the first couple of days we were there, and then after the fact, it got better, but it took me a little bit to get used to that. But for the most part, I don't have much of an issue. I mean, Caleb and I walked almost everywhere. The year the American Open was in Palm Springs, I remember we walked like 1.5 miles to an IHOP for breakfast.
And just given that sometimes it's harder to get food, I guess I know that you walk a lot already. I guess I just meant, I don't know, just it's convenient to get food at home. So do you ever find that you lose a lot of weight when you go to meets before weigh-ins, or you really are trying to make sure that you're eating enough?
No, I try to make sure that I'm eating enough. I mean, the past few meets we've gone to, we've taken advantage of the fact that we've had like a fridge or something. So like I've roomed with Caleb, and Caleb and I'll go to a store, like a grocery store or whatever, and buy snacks and like lunch meat and stuff like that to last us throughout the week, and we'll be pretty good because Dallas was a little different because they had that ice storm and everything was closed. But no, for the most part, I don't have much of an issue. It took me a little bit to get used to it. The American Open in 2012, I for sure didn't eat enough that whole week or the whole weekend we were there. But after that, I kind of learned
because the bacon was $12 there.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like I kind of learned my lesson after that and plan accordingly. And plus, the American Open, I think, was the only competition we went to where there was not a vehicle easily accessible for us to go to the grocery store or whatnot.
Well, let me tell you about Tom. I went into his and Caleb's room at the Arnold this past year. And so you walk into the door, and it just smells like food. It's like steak, bacon, it just smells like you've been cooking everything. Because we had a nice little venue there, or a hotel there where we had.
The Arnold were very nice this year.
Had an oven and.
The only reason I'm laughing is because Morgan
said it smelled like fat people when she walked in. She walked in because Caleb had the scale.
Is bacon and cheese.
Yeah, she had this. Yeah, she had the scale, or Caleb had the scale. Morgan needed to use the scale, and she came into our room to use it. And I had just cooked. I bought a bunch of like those burgers with like the stuff that they mix into it, like cheese and peppers and stuff. And I had cooked a bunch of those up, but I burned one side of them, and so it was a little smoky in the room. And then Caleb was in the process of making bacon at that time. And she knocks on the door, walks in to go step on the scale, and she's standing by the window. She goes, "It smells like fat people in here." What that means, we have no idea. But apparently, like Travis pointed out, it's bacon, cheese, and meat. That's what fat people smell like.
Now,
sounds accurate.
Going back to one other thing, if you go to a meet with Glenn and he's driving, he will find free parking at the expense of your legs.
Yeah.
So, but he knows where the free parking's at.
Yeah, so when you're at a meet, don't get a ride from Glenn.
But specifically, so even at national meets, you're going to walk more, but definitely at international meets, I think the walking, I mean, it's just a cultural thing. Like we tend to maybe not walk as much in the U.S. or.
Well, they walk more, but the real kicker is that it's outside and it's humid and it's hot. That's what really kills you.
And hotels, I was talking about this with James and Glenn. Hotels are generally set up more like apartment complexes in South America, at least. In the U.S., they're usually a tall building. They're not as big. It's all inside. the lobby is usually outside in South America, and there's like several different buildings that are like 2 or 3 stories high.
Yeah, so you walk out of your room and you're just in the heat. I mean, our place too is you had to have your key card. You only had one key card, and that turned on the AC. So, like, if you left all day and then came back, you came back to a hot room.
Yeah, and you have to walk to the cafeteria like pretty far, and you have to walk to the lobby pretty far because everything's spread out kind of like a campus. And that's kind of cool, but it's going to force you to walk a little more. So I would recommend a couple weeks leading up to a meet, maybe incorporating a small, you don't want to go crazy with it, a small walk just to get your body used to it. I mean, Glenn, do you think that's a good idea? Or
I think it's a good idea. If you're talking about, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, little, leisurely walk, you start talking about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, especially if you're talking about being like outside in the heat, et cetera, et cetera. I think that you need, where applicable, where it's possible, you need to stay inside as much as possible, especially if you're a super.
Well, when you're at the meet, but training for the meet a couple weeks before you travel, whether it's national, international, do you think adding walking to your training regimen?
A small amount. I think it'd be easy to get carried away, and at that point you'd be doing yourself more harm than good. But 5-10 minutes, something like that, going for a short walk before training, or something like that. It's not going to hurt you. It's probably going to help you, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like number one, probably the biggest difference between training on a regular basis, because you have your routine, you drive up to the gym, you go train. There's not a lot of walking at a hotel and this and that. So I think that's like a huge difference between the week of a meet and training. And then also, obviously, I cook and prep like majority of my meals. I know, James, you do that too. And we already talked a little bit, like typically when we travel as a team, we have a team vehicle and we try to hopefully get a hotel that has refrigerators and go to the grocery store like Tom said.
So what we usually bring to a meet, I mean, say if you fly there, you always make sure you have your shoes, your singlet, everything you need to compete with you.
I was going to say, make sure that's your carry-on.
Yeah.
That's usually, you told me about that. Like the first time we went to the American Open, I threw everything in my check bag. And I didn't even think about it. And then you and Caleb were both like, well, what if the check bag doesn't get there?
Yeah.
Luckily that didn't happen. Happened for Chris.
Well, Chris literally left his bag.
Well, but remember, he also his bag didn't get there in time, and he didn't have a singlet or shoes or his warm-ups or anything like that.
And that was me, Mike, and Chris all in that same session there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we could just exchange singlets.
Yeah, those are the people of the same size.
Yeah.
So, now, that is true. Now, that's like first meet, my coach has always told me, and Glenn, you probably heard this happen, like baggages do get lost, even today. I mean,
definitely. I've had that happen with several lifters.
So when you jump on a plane, don't put your shoes and singlet in the check bag. Make sure you have your knee sleeves, because those are the things that you cannot replace. Like especially you can buy a pair of shoes at a weightlifting meet or borrow them, but you're not going to break them in before your session. So you've been training in the same shoes. You've been wearing, hopefully, your singlet at least once or twice in training before the meet. Maybe you've been wearing the same singlet for 6 years, like I used to. You're used to it. You're comfortable in it.
Hopefully washing it periodically.
There's some people that don't wash it, and that's disgusting.
You know what? Morgan said that she doesn't wash her competition singlets ever. And I said, gross. That is very non-feminine of you.
Well, you just got to strike the fear into your competitors. If that's by smelling terrible.
If that's what you have to do to strike fear into your competitors.
You know what I did? I fainted.
Right
from my first attempt.
You did do that at the
I don't think
I don't know if that's why
that
I won.
doesn't strike fear. I think that does the opposite. It makes them too cocky because they're like, James is not gonna make a lift, so I've got this in the bag, and then mentally in their mind they think they don't have to lift as much to win. But yeah. Now
you go out there and you make the lift. That's when you strike fear.
You didn't make the first.
Well, I was building suspense.
Yeah.
None of this was on purpose, by the way.
Planned out, right?
Mike and I were sitting out I remember Mike and I watching you during the American Open. I don't know what. Oh, because I had just done Mike's session, and him and I did for the live stream. Mike and I went to go get food. We came back for your your last snatch, and then clean and jerks or whatever. And Sean was back there, and Sean was telling us about how you passed out because you came out for your first attempt. Looked like you had no clue where you were or what you were doing. I think you missed the clean on your first attempt, and then you came out and, like you said, you made your second two. But
yeah,
it was definitely suspenseful is the word I would use for watching that.
Well, back to what you bring to a meet and get prepared for meets.
Well, things that you can replace. You don't have to pack all your gym clothes and this and that, because you can go buy those from Walmart if your bag doesn't get there. Not an ideal situation, but you can replace those things. So obviously your shoes, singlet, knee sleeves, wrist wraps, whatever else, your tape, your belt, those things you can't find and break in.
Tape is probably one of the things that is most likely forgotten and most likely panicked about before a meet. If you don't have tape, you're going to be running around the warm-up room. Who's got tape? Who's got tape? I've seen that
a lot of people
many times.
Tape their hands, fingers, thumbs. I personally tape my thumbs, and if you get used to a certain brand of tape and you train with it every day, then you probably want to use that same brand of tape at the meet. So,
yeah, that makes a surprising difference.
Yeah. So I know here we train with Mueller tape. That's what Muscle Driver sells. Yeah. And so obviously I would like to bring a couple rolls of that for myself, and then if someone else forgets it, and I use a specific size of tape, which is a little thicker. So especially traveling internationally, there's no getting that when you're down there.
Now, things to put in your check bag would be Pedialyte, because you can't take that on your carry-on. But
your supplements.
Yeah.
Any supplements that you have to take with you, put those in your check bag. Otherwise, they're gonna make you open every single container, and they're gonna swab the inside of every single container.
I bring salt with me to take a salt bath to lose weight, and every time they swipe it. They never do my supplements though.
I got stopped in customs in Australia once.
Australia is very
for bringing. I took the protein powder, like white protein powder, and I took it out of the container and put it in a plastic Ziploc bag because I thought it'd be easier to pack it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot the right protein on there, and we got stopped in customs. And they went through my bag, and imagine the look on their face when they're pulling out these gigantic, like gallon Ziploc bags full of white powder. But luckily, they were smart enough to be like, "Is that protein powder?" I said, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, you're good." My wife was really pissed because we were on our honeymoon, and she thought we were getting sent back to the United
They
States.
ain't gonna send you back. I just check it. But that's kind of funny. You know what I imagine? What's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
I don't know, it's probably a bad movie.
Titanic.
No, it's a recent one where he's like the Wolf on Wall Street. Just taping everything to your body. You used to be able to get away with that. There's that scene where she has millions of dollars taped to her, and she puts her clothes over. I just imagine Tom smuggling in his protein.
Right. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep. So, scale, something good to have. You could take that into your carry-on. Every time I do it, they always check it because they think it looks funny because I have salt and a scale, and I guess those combinations look like a bomb. I don't know, but I always take my scale out and treat it just like a laptop so they can just go through.
And then a sauna suit and a sweatshirt in case you got to cut weight. Now, I always bring that not only for myself but for my teammates, because somebody, if you're on a team of more than like 3-4 people, somebody's going to have trouble making weight, whether it's you or another person. So come prepared, not only for yourself but for others. And so most meet hotels have a check scale. But here's the thing. Weightlifting has grown. I went to go check my weight the day before I lifted at the American Open. There was like 30 people in line. It was insane. Because there's like over 400 competitors at every national meet now.
Yeah, the American Open this year was you had to go like rather really early in the morning or really late at night to check your weight.
So it used to not be like that. You know, there'd be like 150 competitors at nationals on a big year. And you would easily get to check your weight because people didn't show up days and days in advance. Not like that anymore. So bring your scale, get one of your teammates to double check what your scale is in comparison to that check scale so that you know it's accurate, and then use that for your team instead.
Yeah, it makes it easier just to go into your hotel room, check your weight. Those are really some of the big things I like to bring. I always like to bring a snack for after weigh-ins or in between snatch and clean and jerk. One of my favorite post weigh-in meals is actually Subway. I don't eat Subway on a regular basis, but that it's actually a pretty good, like some type of sandwich for post weigh-ins.
Well, when your choices are like pizza and stuff like that, Subway can be a real lifesaver because it's simple. This is simple. It's like ham, turkey, bread, and that's it. And that's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for something simple that's easy to digest. It's not going to cause an upset stomach. And if you're not used to eating shit like pizza, then that's the wrong thing to eat for a post weigh-in meal.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, but we always try to eat something similar because, so me and James, for instance, I'm sure you guys too, we eat Subway almost after every weigh-in, so we know that it doesn't really screw up our stomach, and we're not experimenting with a different meal every single time. No matter what city you go to, for the most part, they're going to have a Subway. It's quick. You can get it on the way to weigh-in, so it's somewhat fresh. And it's something that you've eaten before with a Pedialyte, so it's not going to upset your stomach.
What is the worst pre-workout or pre-competition meal you've ever had? Anybody got one?
I'm just going to say pizza.
Pizza?
That sucks.
Okay, so there we go. No pizza before competition.
Is that the best post-competition meal, though?
Absolutely.
I have to disagree with that.
This is my shocked face that you're disagreeing.
Well, Tom, nobody can see that shocked face, so it doesn't count.
Makes no difference.
So when I was at the World Championships, Morgan competed before me, and she got like this to-go box from the hotel. And she got a nice little like turkey sandwich with cheese on there and like lettuce and tomato and all that stuff. And I was like, oh man, that's good. I'm going to get the same thing. So by the time my session came around a couple of days later, I ordered it. I go weigh in. I didn't look at it because I didn't want to look at my food because I was starving before I weighed in. So I weighed in, and then I opened that thing up. It's bread with cheese on it, and not even like grilled cheese.
Was it like a fancy cheese too, like some kind of brie cheese or something?
I have no idea.
Okay, because
it was like a roll.
I bet you felt gypped.
I did. I mean, it was free, but I still felt like Morgan got the better meal.
But
she's only at 48 too, so she really didn't need a good meal.
I know.
You're the one that needed it.
It's damn 48s.
Damn.
Well, one thing about some international meets don't have a check scale at the hotel. So, bring a scale to an international meet because you may not have a check scale at the hotel like you do in the U.S.
Yeah. In the Dominican Republic, they did have a check scale at the hotel, but the door wasn't always open to get there. Mm-hmm. So you could go check it sometimes, but most of the time you couldn't.
Because the idea is to weigh in exactly your weight class if you have to make weight. You don't want to be cutting too much weight because that's as detrimental as not making weight.
Yeah.
So.
And it's good to check that check scale too, just for that same reason. At Pan Am's this year, the check scale and the official scale was a half a kilo lighter than my scale. So my scale said I was 77.5, but in reality, I was actually on weight, and I didn't have to cut anymore. And it kind of makes the weight cut easier. It's worth checking.
And at international meets, if you get there a couple days in advance, get to know your surroundings, or if there's a team manager, ask that they figure out where you can get food if the box sucks. Like James' situation at Worlds, it's obviously better to have a backup because what if he's allergic to what's in the box? There's just you got to be prepared.
Yeah, make sure you bring your Snickers bars.
Yeah,
it's always a good one.
And then obviously, post snatch, get some carbs in, quick carbs, Fig Newtons, Snickers bars, whatever your favorite thing is, and obviously bring your game face to a competition.
I was about to say, what are we missing? I was like, oh, the competition part.
Yeah, you don't want to be lethargic. Bring some nose torque just in case you're passing out.
Yeah, nose torque is that ammonia caps. I always use nose torque too, but I keep saying that and nobody knew what that was. but ammonia caps or the smelling sauce comes in a glass bottle.
It sounded like you said smelling sauce.
I think I did. I don't know. It sounds like it's smelling sauce. Yeah, it's a sauce and you smell it and shit gets real.
All right, Tom.
And Tom looks like he needs some of that right now. Tom's got this face on like, oh, I'm so tired.
I don't have to cut weight, so
Well, you have the opposite situation. When you get to a meet, if it's really hot, somewhere, and you start losing weight, you have to make sure that you're staying extra hydrated and you have extra food. So talk about that, because there are people who need that information.
Well, I mean, for me, for instance, during the summer, I up like the electrolytes significantly. During the winter, I'll just drink water on a consistent basis. I have that sweet container from South Sound Weightlifting. It actually holds a lot of water. But during the summer, I drink a lot of Gatorade and like anything
like a 32-ounce bottle of water.
Yeah, it's something. I don't even know how much it is.
Yeah,
like
it looks
I said,
like that. Huh?
It's deceptively large. But
That's what he said.
yeah, baby. No, I mean it just. I don't know. It's different from person to person, because I mean Rachel was asking me about it today. She was like, "Do you have a hard time maintaining your body weight?" And I said it depends. Like there are certain times where I feel like it doesn't matter how much I eat, I'm going to lose weight no matter what, and it happens. And then there are other times where I'm just not hungry at all, and I still lose weight. Like it fluctuates. So I mean, especially when we go to competitions, like I said, I try now to do a very good job of making sure I have what I need. My go-tos are peanut butter. I make sure I'll buy like a bunch of like the cheap like plastic throwaway silverware, a couple things of peanut butter, and I'll throw that in the fridge or something.
Silverware.
Yeah. And so like Caleb and I literally, when we go shopping, like our cart is lunch meat, milk, peanut butter, and plastic silverware. Like that is, for the most part, it. And then maybe we'll get some Gatorade or something to drink. But I mean, we just.
You know what a great trick is? The sink in the hotel room. Stop it up so that it doesn't drain, and then put ice in it. And then put your lunch meat and stuff in the sink. I've used that trick several times when we didn't have a cooler or we didn't have a refrigerator, and it's like lunch meat and stuff will keep in there for a day or two.
That's what Caleb does. Living or rooming with Caleb's like rooming with MacGyver. Like if there is something missing in the room, he will figure out how to get it done. He does that in the bathroom sink too, though. Like because we would like keep things clean or whatever, and if there was a sink in the like a kitchen with like a sink or whatever, but no fridge, he would fill up the bathroom sink with ice and like throw like lunch meat in there and keep it in there overnight or something. So
you don't need to brush your teeth.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna stop up all the sinks so you can't wash your hands or anything.
Well, if given the choice, I'd rather not eat in the bathroom. But
we don't eat in the bathroom; it's just kept in the bathroom.
So Tom puts up a big dooski, and then
Wow,
Caleb goes in there to get the lunch meat.
No, when I have to use the bathroom, I go into your room and use your
my
bathroom.
room.
Yeah, or I'll go to Sean's or.
So I got a story.
Okay.
So I had a roommate once. There was 4 of us living in this house, and I had a room upstairs, and then there was another room upstairs, and then the bathroom in between it that we shared. There was another bathroom downstairs, but it was like the one for the master bedroom.
So far I've gotten it's a 3-bedroom, 6-bathroom house.
No, two bathroom, 3-bedroom.
Okay.
So I was in there, I was taking a shower, I woke up real early, and my roommate woke up, and he had to take a crap. So he's just like, oh man, hope he hurries up and gets out of the shower. So apparently I was taking a long time in the shower, and he decides he can't wait. So he takes his trash bag out of his trash can. He walks into his closet. Like, there's nobody else in his room. Walks into his closet.
You told me this story
Closes
before.
the closet doors. He's sitting in his closet with the just dark, and it's like 5:00 in the morning, so it's not bright out at all. And he takes a poop in his closet. And then
I knew where that was headed.
Glenn is cracking up. He's like, why are you telling this story? But it's so funny.
So then he goes downstairs and he cleans up the trash can outside and with the hose and all that stuff. And so as he's coming back up the stairs after he cleans it, I have already gotten out of the shower, dressed and everything and was heading out the door. So I say, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he just looks at me. He's just like, "Argh," kind of angry eyebrows, and then he just goes back to sleep. I assumed he was just tired, and that was his morning response. So I learned this story about 2 months later when we were drinking a few beers, and then it came out. And it was quite an experience, quite a story.
Well, what was going on in the second bathroom?
Nothing. That was the part of the story. Nothing was going on in the second bathroom. He just decided to poop in his closet.
Well, what's that? Who's that guy Van Wilder? So remember when they spike that guy's drink with Visine and he goes to take the bar, and then he's like in the interview and he like takes a shit in their trash can, these famous lawyers' trash can.
Oh yeah,
that's what that reminds me of.
Van Wilder.
But
I've never seen it, so
Van Wilder's it's probably on Netflix. Worth a watch. Definitely really funny. They don't really make comedies very good anymore, so that's a pretty good one if you want to laugh.
Yeah, I think they've got a few 8 years in college jokes in there. Who goes to school for 8 years? And then most people will be like, "Oh, a doctor," and then he's like, "No, I don't even have my undergraduate." So he's that kind of person. That was a pretty good movie.
Well, I guess it's getting late here.
And my jokes are getting worse.
They're pretty good. You guys got anything before we head out?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, well, somebody asked me a question, and they said, "How do you get on Team Muscle Driver?"
Okay.
Come to tryout.
Come to a tryout.
Yeah, we should be having a tryout. We usually host 2 a year, but I don't know. I mean, our team's getting pretty big. You think we'll have something in the fall, even if we're maybe not planning on recruiting a ton of lifters?
I would expect us to have something in the fall. Yes. I mean, we haven't made any specific plans, but yeah, I think we'll have a meet in the fall.
So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff coming up. We got the whole summer. We got Don's got some seminars. Glenn's got some seminars. Lifters have seminars. We got nationals. Potentially qualifications for last-minute qualifications for Worlds to make sure we get some people on the team. So it's going to be busy. And somewhere in there, towards the end of it, we're hopefully going to have another, at least a meet here. And then, leave it open-ended to find someone. So keep a lookout on Muscle Driver USA on Facebook. They post all that stuff regularly. And, we have a lot of new lifters, and they're starting to put out images of these lifters if you want to get to know the rest of the team. And we had Taylor on here a couple days ago. Her new nickname is no longer Tiny Tabu. It is...
Oh, it's Quadrantron.
Quadrantron. I can't even say that.
Quadrantron.
That's like a Transformers type of...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess she's got big quads. That's what you're going for.
She's got some big legs on her.
She does have big quads, so I would expect to see some. I mean, she squats 150 kilos already, and I think she can squat more. So it's pretty impressive squats.
Yeah, 150.
150. They got this thing on the local rap station, and it's like at 7:50 in the morning. I'm an early riser these days, so.
He thinks that's early.
I was about to say, I've been up for 3 hours.
Well, I'm in the car at that point, driving somewhere, so I've been up too. And the guy comes on, and he's like, 7:50, and then they go through, and it's like 7 o'clock, 7:30, 7:35, and then he's like, that's not how you say 7:50. It's 7:50, not 7:50. Anyways.
You just said the exact same, though.
No, he said 7:50. And then he said 7:50.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Anyways.
And as Chris would say, 7:50 big titty.
Wow.
Chris used to say that all the time, except it was 150 when he would clean 150.
And I'm done.
If I could have rapped that, you guys would have thought it was hilarious, but I'm not that good yet. I'll practice, and we'll see you guys next week.